Gradey with an up fake. Driving. Oh! What a move by Dick along the baseline.
No pizza party tonight, folks. The Raptors had a chance to make it 3 wins in a row for the first time this season, but the Cavaliers had other plans. Cleveland got out to a 25-point lead and did not look back.
To be expected. Once we start subbing and with new guys, it was hard for them to know what we're running and what we want to do defensively. There was a lot of breakdowns, but that's to be expected. And now we're going to have a shoot around, actually, ability to do a little bit of work in preparation for San Antonio and to build on that.
The major bright spot for the Raptors tonight was Scottie Barnes, who was just electric throughout. Barnes was as vocal as ever on the floor, and he notched his 4th career triple-double, breaking the franchise record for most triple-doubles in a season with 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists.
Absolutely. He was so vocal on the court. He was so vocal tonight on the bench. He was talking about, helping guys what they need to do. He's also trying to orchestrate things on the court and help put guys in certain spots on the court. I think he's really taking the next step as a leader of this team, and I'm really proud of his contributions tonight.
Now, the Cavaliers' defense stifled pretty much everyone on the Raptors except for Scottie. One of the best defenses in the NBA limited the Raptors to just 40% from the field and 29% from 3. Now, Gradey Dick had a solid outing once again, finishing with 14 points and 3 threes on the night.
It is a lot of things. Confidence comes from work more than anything else, and he's been doing outstanding job, working every single day and putting a lot of into his development, shooting on the balance, how to create shots, how to relocate, how to cut, how to finish, and all of that is slowly coming for us to see the fruits of that work.
So the pizza party didn't happen, and despite Scottie's best efforts, the Raptors were just outmatched by the hottest team in the NBA. And despite that, in today's film room, I wanted to take a positive approach and talk about Gradey and just some of the things that he does on the offensive end that should reward him more minutes. Gradey draws a lot of attention, and these inbound plays are a great example of it. So, he is flashing to the corner. Nice little screen here by Kelly Olynyk to free him up. And so you see him catching on the go, catching on his left side, rising up in motion, and nailing this shot. That is just pure poetic basketball from Gradey Dick, because it's hard to catch on the go at full speed and be able to rise up like that. And because the Raptors have Scottie Barnes, who he himself demands so much attention offensively, when the defense is so squared in on Scottie like it is on this possession, Gradey being able to roam around, relocate here into a very, very open space where the Cavaliers defense needs to sort of break down in order to get to him, Gradey can settle into his jumpers very easily here. And RJ's rim pressure really helps open up some great shots for Gradey. Here he is. The defense collapses in on RJ. As that happens, Gradey shifts down to the deep corner. Deep corner is a really, really great spot for shooters because it's harder to get out to for a contest, and Garland, the smaller guard, isn't able to give this a good contest. Gradey misses this shot, but you like the idea from Gradey essentially moving around on these type of three-point opportunities. Being able to stretch the floor from above the break is super crucial when playing with guys like RJ and Scottie, because now teams can't send help from above the break. And so when the defense crashes like this, Gradey is able to make them pay with these above the break threes. That is a huge, huge part of his development. And maybe an even more important part is the ability to put the ball on the floor and make plays. So when teams start running him off the line, like Okoro did just now, Gradey is able to put the ball on the floor. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a ridiculous finish. He's not going to do this often. Maybe he does. Who knows? Maybe he does. But this just wrap around, up and under, the reverse is ridiculous, but being able to do it with that much finesse is just beautiful stuff from Gradey. And you like the confidence, just once again, another movement shot here. So pin down, he comes off of the dribble handoff and immediately, dribble, set up into a jumper. He misses this again, but you like the idea and you like the confidence that Gradey is playing with. I think that above all is what has made this difference over this last month and 2 weeks of Gradey. Just the ability to look confident on the floor, to make decisions, to be able to make reads with the ball in your hand, to be able to do something. If you followed me enough, folks, if you have been tapping into my work, I harp on this idea of being an active participant in the offense. Active participant means you can do multiple things when you get the ball. You can dribble, pass, shoot, the triple threat, right? And a great example of this is Josh Green on the Dallas Mavericks. Sometimes when you're a role player, especially a role player who plays alongside such a high usage player in Luka Doncic, you sort of are just waiting around and you're sort of just standing around waiting for maybe a shot, waiting for, cut to the basket, get a layup. But in order to be an active participant of the offense, you need to be constantly moving. You need to be able to, once you get the ball, do multiple things with it, whether it's, obviously shoot or attack the basket or make a play for someone else or attack the basket and then make a play with the defense, kind of crashing in on you. And Gradey is an active participant in the offense. It was a little bit too fast for him to start his career. He was kind of all over the place, but you saw the wheels turning. You saw him sort of figuring it out. And over the last 6 weeks, we're seeing him put the ball on the floor more. We're seeing him be more comfortable with the ball in his hands. We're seeing him obviously be more comfortable with that jump shot, relocating into space in order to take those shots. He's more willing to take them as well, which is a huge element of this. I spoke about the mid-range jump shot that he hit, I believe, against the Pelicans in his career high. That goes to show you, the different repertoire of the things that he can do. And folks, he's only 20 years old. Super important. Being an active participant on offense. And I think Gradey does that exceptionally well for his age. Have to talk about Scottie Barnes. We must talk about Scottie Barnes. I wish I had clips to show you guys because it just doesn't capture on camera what I saw in person. Scottie was talking all the time. There was a moment in the game. It was, I believe, Kelly Olynyk's first, sort of stint with the Raptors. He came out, both him and Scottie were talking. They were just kind of, it was a very, I don't want to say it was a heated discussion. It wasn't, but it was like you could see how animated and excited they both were to talk to each other, right? And even after the game, Kelly mentioned that there are certain things that Scottie sees that he also sees, and they're sort of trying to match each other's energy. Listen to this clip here.
He sees the floor really well, and his IQ is really high. He's coming up to me, telling me things that now I see and I know, but he's telling me them, before I tell him them, really. You know what I mean? So it's really fun to see that and see him continue to develop and grow and continue to be vocal.
Just trying to help our defense, I feel like they was getting a lot of easy pick and rolls or easy slip outs or dunks, getting easy lanes creating. So just being able to being able to communicate on the floor, I feel like it really helped us when we was down really bad. So I feel like it helped us on the defensive end. We need that more from everybody. We just got to take those steps.
And so I just think that in real time, this is something that I'm working on. And this is something that's going to be interesting to watch develop over the next 3 or 4 years when it comes to Scottie, is how much more vocal he becomes as a leader. How much more does he sort of take the onus on himself to be the vocal person, the backline defender who can say, hey, switch here. Hey, screen coming left, screen coming right. You heard all that tonight against the Cavaliers. And I think I would expect that to happen more often now. I also thought, there was so much more orchestration that was happening from Scottie. There was a moment where him and Quickly were setting up a pick and roll on the empty side, and they wanted to set up Jakob for the dump off, and RJ was coming to their side for a second, and Scottie's like, no. Like we're this is what we're doing here. And I like that. I like the fact that he's trying to take control of this team, of this situation, realizing and recognizing the moment. It's what a star is supposed to do, ladies and gentlemen. And I thought tonight was like the perfect example. Not to mention like triple-double, breaking a franchise record. All that stuff is cool, but I think the real tangible growth from Scottie tonight was, hey, it's my turn to do this. And, I mentioned it. Some of you may have seen the tweet, but, there was a moment right after the trade deadline against the Rockets game. Usually it's Thad Young who, after the intros, will say like, all right, guys, let's do this 1, 2, 3 team, right? And Thad obviously wasn't there. He just got traded to the Nets. And so after the intros, everybody was sort of just standing around and looking at each other like, who is going to do this? And Scottie looked around for a second too. And he's like, oh, wait, yeah, that's me. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. And I think there is a moment of realization there over these last couple of games of being like, I'm the guy on this team now and they need me to lead them. And because he's so smart on the basketball court, he sees things maybe a little bit faster than his teammates do. And the process of telling his teammates and doing it in a way that either matches their energy or is able to relate to them in a way, that's how he's going to learn how to be a leader. There's bosses out there, right? There's certain bosses that treat every single employee the same way, and that never gets anything done. And then there's bosses who are like, hey, this guy takes this type of treatment, this guy gets approached this way and whatever, right? And that helps. And I think Scottie's going through that evolution process. I'm very curious to see how it kind of grows, not only through this season, but as we kind of progress over the next couple of years. I wish I had clips to show you guys. I really wish I did. But from my vantage point, he was talking on the bench. He was active. Him and Kelly were getting into it and kind of conversing all the time throughout the game. There were moments where he was talking to Ochai and saying, hey, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. He kept telling Gary to talk on defense and, be active on defense. And I think that is going to be such an incredible trade of Scottie Barnes if he can develop that and if he can become that forever for the Toronto Raptors. So yeah, folks, wish I had clips to show you guys, but take my word for it. That's exactly what I saw. And Coach Darko Rajakovic saw it as well. So yeah, that's it. They're playing Wemby. Wemby is coming to town on Monday for the San Antonio Spurs. After that, it is a reunion once again with Pascal Siakam and the Indiana Pacers on Valentine's Day at that. A little bit of love in the air, and you get Spicy P coming to Toronto. So that should be interesting. And then we are headed to All-Star Weekend. Folks, I am going to Indiana. I'm going to be trying to, track Scottie down and maybe do a story on, his first All-Star Weekend. Not first All-Star Weekend, but his first All-Star Weekend of his career. So should be interesting. As always, tap in, subscribe to Raptors Republic, do the things you guys always do to make sure these videos do well. Thank you so much for watching the previous video I just did. I really, really appreciate that. If you guys are Super Bowl fans, go Chiefs. If you're not, then who cares? And let's go Raptors. So take care, everybody. Have a good one.